Welcome to the 23rd, I guess. This is my 23rd version of Wholesome WordZ. Welcome.
23rd?
Excited to be here with my partner in serious crime, Mr. Craig Carlisle from Raising Men and the Framework.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing. How you doing?
You said 23rd, huh?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, 24 months. It'll be the 23rd. Yeah.
So that means you got an anniversary. There's a song. You should play that song.
Okay, let's write that one down. Happy anniversary, that one, or no? Which one?
You can't do the one by what's that too? Now you got my DJ head all jacked up. Tony. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it's your anniversary. That one.
There you go. Yeah, you go. Should be your what? Not 1 year, but 2.
Yeah, this is 2 and 2. Back to 2 and 2. I was on that show.
That's what's the
right. Juneteenth 2020. I started this venture to be a platform for people to express themselves. At that time, I remember, Craig, it was my not personal, but it was my form of protest because of what was happening with George Floyd.
Yep.
And so I was really led.
Peaceful protest.
Yeah, I was having a protest. And that was my form. And then remember I was on Zoom and I was freaking out because I was on Zoom and I didn't know all the ups and downs. Zoom was kind of like this new platform that the world had to become involved in because of COVID. And so I wasn't, I wasn't savvy with that yet. And so we had a lot of rehearsals, just to go back and forth. I had a lot of people that said, oh yeah, some first timers and some last timers too. So, but I've been doing this. Must be my 23rd, right? That's how you count them, right? Monthly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, it's my 23rd. So
I missed the first 2 you had.
Well, yeah, I think so. Because by the time I evolved, and that's even a story if you haven't heard that. I evolved from Zoom and you would never see me. I was always behind the avatar.
Yeah, imagine that.
Shut up, Craig. I evolved from that, and I think it was August. I just took the plunge, and I learned about StreamYard. I can't remember how I found out about it, but I did, and it was probably one of the best things I ever said. I don't have much money, but I'll invest in this, and it's been a blessing on so many different ways. And then that started all kind of creative juices of doing plays and other, just all kinds of stuff like live stream can do for you. So
that's awesome. Well, congratulations for your
I
planned
this out. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. You?
Well, who knows? Knowing you probably like to do this and live at the same time. You like out in the world and on here and back in the world and back in here. And who knows? You might even do in the world and here on the same time. You never know.
Wow. I don't know if I can do it. They do have some mobile thing that you can be out and about, but I'm not. I'm still trying to do essential shopping. So we're not out and about. We'll go to a few things, but we're not trying to hang out with a dirty dozen. No.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah. So no. Nopes, and more nopes. But I know last month I shared that I had applied to work on my doctorate of ministry.
Did you share that actually? You said you had a secret you were going to share. You didn't say what it was.
I did share it. Yeah. No. Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I didn't tell people I stepped out the boat and applied. Are you sure?
Okay, you said this month you would have an announcement.
I had an announcement last time, and that's what I said. I took my own advice. You don't remember that one?
We might have to go back and roll the tape.
We might have to roll the tape on
Yeah.
But for those that are keeping track with Wholesome WordZ, Creative Arts Spark, uh, Craig and I, went to this thing called Pageant of Our Lord. And we were just having our usual discussion about how art is a language that a lot of churches don't invest in or haven't found its space or place in the gospel of sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I'm not sure how it went, but something was said to the effect that he goes, "Yeah, you have a degree." And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I said something about, "Yeah, I was going to try and get my um PhD or something like that." And then Craig said something like, "Well, how come?" I'm like, "But what would I do with it? I don't understand what would I do with it?" And Craig said, teach. So that kind of like stuck with me. And of course, if you haven't been to Passion of Our Lord, next year, 2023, you gotta go. So the next day, that kind of sat with me, and I'm like, okay, God speaks in mysterious ways in my life. So I'm gonna just get out the boat. So I found my professor from, many rains ago, online, and I sent him an email. And to my surprise, less than 5 minutes later, he responded. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I am out the boat and I'm walking. And then one thing led to the other. And by the end of the month, um, I was admitted. And my class started a couple weeks ago, summer intensive. So bunch of reading for right now, just trying to figure out stuff. So, I've been encouraging people to take that leap and if you get the spark, and I believe that the conversation was a spark, and, for me to at least inquire. And then that just led to a whole bunch of different things that I was out the boat and I was walking and I wasn't looking down, and I'm like, okay, well, Lord, if this is for me, then all these doors are open. And so I had like an unusual, when you apply for a school, Craig, you hear something from the registrar, right? No, not Joanne. I hear from the director of the program, and then a
Joanne.
couple days later, I hear from the registrar. Oh yeah, I hear you've been accepted, and I'm like, okay, I haven't got any, I haven't got anything, but if you say okay. So, bunch of reading. I got my project assigned today. I talked to my other professor, Dr. Miller. So I'm out the boat, I'm working on projects. I'm trying to have some more sparks. So everyone pray for sparks. I need a spark
You're
for
trying to
this
blow the house
project.
up, though.
I'm sorry, what you
You're not
say?
trying to blow the house up.
No sparks there because we can't afford that. But I got some projects and some papers and all kinds of stuff. So we got to pull some stuff together. I don't think it'll be bad because I actually do like to write. And yeah, I kind of like that. So I was telling Craig before, when I was at Fuller Theological Seminary, I went to the library because I was like, okay, I haven't been studying in God knows how long. So I need to know what the latest and greatest. And I stumbled across this thing called EndNote. And at Fuller, that was a part you could have that because you were a student there. And I was like, oh, well, this is great. And what EndNote is a tool that you use, software that you use, that when you are quoting and stuff like that, and you put stuff on your footnote and stuff, that it automatically makes your bibliography. So when you really done with your paper, you ain't got to do the bibliography because that's what EndNote does. I so love that feature. So that I've made some little investments in making sure I had all of the things that I needed to have to move forward with studying. And so a couple weeks ago, I got EndNote. Since I was already admitted, I could get the student price, which was like almost saving almost $150 dadgummit dollars. So I said, yes, thank you very much. I'll take that.
That's a
So
lot.
Yeah. So just trying to find my papers and trying to get back into that mentality of um, what's going on. Oh wow, we have a famous person that says, "Hey Joe and Craig, hey Andy, how you doing? Glad you could join us this week today."
Today.
Yeah, we're on. Good to see you. Glad you found us on Facebook. We're on Facebook and we're on YouTube and we're on um we're on everywhere.
Well, StreamYard. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
StreamYard. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're getting caught up. We're giving the spring update. We weren't Craig thinks I didn't share. Andy, did we share that I was gonna be working on my doctorate degree and on the last show? I'm thinking I did. Andy, you were there. Did I share that information? She gonna prove yes or no, Craig.
She
So
knows. She
she
knows.
be knowing. She gonna let us both know. Andy, text and let us know. Did we do that last month? I'm thinking we did, but Craig says, mm-mm. So I had to, So her answer's gonna come soon. You wait and see. Anyway, so that's where I am. Trying to pull all this stuff together out my head. And what's left of it at this point. I'm asking for everybody to pray for. Yeah, see, Craig, look at this, Craig.
What did
See,
she say? What did you say?
yeah.
You're supposed to be on my part, on my
No,
side.
you know better than that, Andy, don't you? I know you do.
You're supposed to be on my side.
Andy, you know way better than that. I know you
Let me
do.
just
I
tap it real quick. Boop, 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 boop. You're supposed to be on my side.
You can tap all you want to. She know better than
Good
that.
Lord.
So, see, Craig, I told you I did. See, thank you, Andy. Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, see, I told you Andy would clarify that information. So, first class, trying to be really creative with this presentation. It's already taken off to its own script. Keep tapping. Yeah, no, yeah, that's not funny. No.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so it looks like I'm gonna make it an event, but it's good stuff. It's some stuff that I've already read before, and I got a little bit of an idea of it. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So that's kind of my spring update. And
So
that
how long is the program that you think you'll be
the
on this?
program they say is like 3 years. I was like,
Ooh.
oh Lord have mercy. What am I gonna be doing for 3 years?
And did they, or have you thought about what your dissertation is supposed to be on, or are they not quite? It's way probably too early for that.
Yeah, I'm just walking out the boat. I'm just out the boat right now, walking around, seeing different, things in the sky. I have no idea, none whatsoever. Yeah, today did get a phone call. I don't know if I shared that with you. I don't think I did. That
Well,
someone.
ask Andy. She know. Did she share about her phone call, Andy? See, let me see.
So anyway, I got a call from San Diego State today, Craig.
Oh, did they send you transcripts finally?
No, they asked me to be a guest lecturer next fall.
Whoa, that's huge. What's the class or the topic?
I'm trying to figure out how God is doing this. Yeah, I got a phone call. Andy goes, a phone call. Yeah, I got a phone call.
Wow.
On the arts, if you can imagine that. So
Interesting.
back in the day, as I say, many, many rains ago, I was a part of Emmy Award winning dance troupe. And it was called, because my professor loved long names, his name was Dr. Danny Lyon Scarborough. So if you don't know who Danny is, you can look him up. He was amazing. Some of the things I do, Andy, you can blame him. So he was amazing during my college years, and within our first year of just existence on campus, so we were the first Black dance troupe on campus. We won an Emmy from our rendition dance called Roots. And so we had done it enough on campus to where KPPS said, you guys, I think you have something. And so they recorded us, submitted it, and we won an Emmy. I was there, whoop, 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 at the Emmys, and we won an Emmy for our performance of Roots. And amazing, exciting things. And so as things have evolved, because I didn't think I was an artist, I just thought I just liked artsy stuff. Next thing you know, many reigns forward, I'm this choreographer at this church, and I'm like, well, what the heck? And so then that changed into, well, I started writing poetry and scripts and stuff. I mean, none of the stuff I went to school for, but it just started happening. And then there was the Metamorpho experience, which was out in the community, the first open mic that I've done. And then that evolved, and I went to another church, and I was writing and dancing and choreographing. And then I went to the community. I mean, so, and now here I'm here. Here I am.
Here you
So
are.
I met this lady, or re-met this lady. I think she actually went to church, Calvary Baptist Church, when I was there. She knew my mother. And I saw her at an event, and I'm like, oh, I know you had followed. She's this amazing poet. Yeah, Dolores Fisher. She was on last month.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been following her and was trying to see if I could, at least get her on this, So eventually, looks like I'm frozen. Am I frozen, Craig?
Nope, you're moving. You're moving.
Good. And so Dolores finally came on, and they were doing the 50th anniversary of when I was at San Diego State. It was called the Black Studies Departments, and it's evolved into the Africana Studies Departments. So they're looking at all these people who were basically historians, pioneers in the at San Diego State. So she was asking me, well, when did you go? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm one of the original 7 people in the dance troupe. And she says, what? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can tell you about blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what? So today when I got the phone call, I was like, what? What are you talking about? You want me to guest lecture? So to talk I share the history of the dance troupe, Danny, and then African American dance. So, and I'm supposed to do this in the fall.
That's awesome. So imagine that. So imagine if you had not have stepped out the boat. I wonder. Nah, I don't need to wonder because you already stepped out the boat. So we're good.
I know, one spark to the next. So now I'm trying to figure out this paper and how
I have
much.
a question.
Yes, sir.
So now that they've asked you to be a guest lecturer and you stepped out the boat, will you be using an avatar over you while you do that?
Shut up, Craig.
Oh, I'm just checking. Just checking.
Shut up.
Just checking.
And you see what you do when you got good friends that just. But that's okay. So that's kind of like my update. And that just happened today, both the assignment and the invite to be a guest lecturer.
That's awesome. Well, congrats, Joe. I can't wait to continue to hear your update and see you with homework.
Yeah. Y'all pray for brain. What do you call those cells to fire in the right direction? So the synapse connect and all of that. I need all that electricity in my head to be working in the right direction, not just firing for the sake of doing it. You gotta have a purpose at this point. Oh my God.
You don't want to say you're fired and you're fired. And you're
fired.
Fire.
Yeah, so no. Much prayers are requested during these. I mean, you're talking about sparks, some creative arts sparks. Everybody needs to be like spark here, spark there, where spark. McDonald had a spark and he gave it to Joanne. There you go. I'm just saying. Because I'm all over the place.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So what's happening with you, Craig?
Me?
What's on your horizon?
Oh my gosh, it's repair week or repair month because I've been working on these machines of mine trying to get them to be fully operational. I have, like I shared last time, I have 2 of the same machine, and one of them was about probably 75 or 80%, and then the other one, I kind of let it sit on the side because it had been left not used for a month prior to me buying it. So the goal was to get the one machine 100%, and then I would know from that what I would need to do to get, get the other machine up and running. So it's been a comedy of frustration and not errors, because I mean, what do? You can't make an error machine. You don't know what you're doing. So I've been on the phone with several different technicians. And the funny thing about this print manufacturer happens to have three numbers for support. And it's to three different groups of people that support the same product three different ways, but they don't seem to all kind of resolve to the same group unless you go online. And then online is the only place to have a centralized support agency. Go figure. But anyway, long story short with that is that I've actually found the same technician now twice in a row in consecutive weeks, and he is out in the Riverside County-esque area, which is kind of cool. He's probably closer to Riverside near the university than anything else. And yeah, and he actually has been very, very helpful. Such a godsend, being able to send me videos and some pictures and some other behind the scenes looks at what a customer probably shouldn't normally get to repair their units, because some of the stuff they just want you to do to call a tech and have a tech come. And the honest thing about it, he's a support tech, but he doesn't do on-site visits. So I'm not quite sure what do you need a tech for if you're not doing visitation. But he seems like he kind of rallies and supports their vendors that have certified techs, and he kind of helps them manage, their regions. So, but he's been very helpful sending me information. So I'll have some more information on Sunday, because he sent me at least 3 different types of data I need to have for the printer, as well as I asked him today when we spoke about getting some parts, specialized parts and maintenance, either oils and stuff that I didn't have. But I am printing in color, and this is one of the shirts we were able to print in color, and I have.
Let me see, Craig. I don't see it.
Oh. Well,
no.
I take it back. Sorry, forgot what I was wearing. Sorry. The shirt I have underneath here is the shirt I actually wore. I printed. This is a Raising Man in copper on white, but underneath here is actually one of Ryan's shirts I did for his volleyball senior night. So we're printing in color just fine.
Wow.
And then we were blessed to get a pre-treater. I think we showed pictures of that last month. But I went to fire up the pre-treater because I've been doing the research and getting prepped. And then the pre-treater broke down. So I actually had to order parts, and I just received those parts to replace on Wednesday. So that's another thing for this weekend. It's parts replacement weekend and maintenance weekend. So, it's just, it's easy. Yeah, it's pretty much what it feels like. But it's easy to let yourself be disappointed and frustrated if you want to, because when you get all charged and jazzed up about doing what you believe the Lord's got you to do, but then there's all these obstacles that come, it'll make you want to have a second thought about, am I sure I was supposed to do this? But these are really from the enemy. So the Lord's provided the door and opened it, but the enemy wants to put a little shim or something under the door or a sock behind us. When you push it open, it makes you run into the door and you feel frustrated, but to realize that you're already through to the other side. And these are natural parts of the process. So learning, in my case, how to maintain these machines in the beginning when the work is slow is just to my advantage, versus having them work 100% and then have them shut down and try to figure out, and then I lose business because I don't know how to maintain it. And that was one of the things that the tech shared today was, once you learn how to do all this, you'll be fine, and it's so much better for you down the road. Caden's been a godsend too. He's got several different designs he's helping me with. Well, let's talk about some of those real quick. He helped me with this design here.
Oh, wow.
It started off just as a neon green and black, where the orange was, or is, it was neon green. And he had that Martin from the old Martin comedy, kind of, the comedy show back in the 80s, or 90s actually. He had that as an idea, and he saw that vision. So we changed and rolled with his vision and modified it. So nice. He's been definitely in, and this is of course printed right off of the Brother GT381. And the one I was mentioning that actually I'm wearing underneath this shirt is, well, that kind of has the just the white background. Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. The overlays. This is actually was Ryan's shirt at his senior night that he wore, and I went with the lion with the dreads because he's trying to wear that twisted dread look on the top. So this reminded me of him, the lion guy. And
Okay.
so then the family that showed up, they came, family and friends that came that night, they wore this shirt. So
Oh, nice.
it was just to be able to support him, and it was very well received. He enjoyed it, and he got exactly what he wanted. I started it in this direction, and he had me make a few modifications to it. So he was very pleased. And then there's a friend group he's got that he rolls with quite a bit. That the parents are putting them together a graduation party
Oh, nice.
in sometime in after they all graduate in June, because it's a combination of Temecula people and Riverside County people. So I just did this design for them.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
the,
Nice.
su- the suggestion from one of the parents was, was that saying, even a global pandemic couldn't stop me. So it was in a totally different design, but I saw this as a vision, so we rolled with that. So that'll be on the front of their shirt, and what you can't see because it's in the black, in our border below us, it says class of 2022. So
Nice.
at the moment, it'll be on a white shirt because that's what we're able to do, color on white. We're still in the process of getting the different colors with the white printing. Caden's got a design
Nice.
that he's been rolling and going really forward with this. He wanted a Cheeto shirt with on the back. He wanted the nutritional facts, and so we printed this. And somebody may be asking, "Hey, I thought you said you can't print white," but since this is a white shirt, I actually deleted out all of the actual white ink spaces that was on the graphic. So where you see the
Oh, okay.
white, that's actually just an
Just
empty
shirt.
space, but with right is the shirt coming through.
Nice.
So he has an orange T-shirt already prepared for this logo. So I kind of remind him, when you went orange on orange, that's not always the
Yeah,
best
that's
thing to
kinda
do.
ew, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So then you would have to take the orange out of the cheetah.
and that may be a way we'll have to roll that
Yeah, you
too.
have
So
to
it'll
remove
really
that
pop.
because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kinda
Yeah, but it's funny. Some of this too is because it's experimental, and sometimes you have an idea, and you really kind of have to do it once to go, oh yeah, that
Is
idea
that
doesn't
called an
work.
art spark? Oh, okay, once you have an
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. So I printed that shirt because we were still experimenting with, is the white on printer actually working? Is it not working? Because I'm actually getting some ink to come through one of the four white heads. And so my thought was, okay, let's just really kind of push it to the biggest test and try to print that logo on a red shirt. Now, if the white was working 100%, then you could have done that and it would have stood up. But I knew it wasn't going to work. But he says, Dad, well, just try it and see. And I went ahead and did it, and because it meant more to him because I tried it and did it versus just telling him that it wouldn't work. So sometimes we just kind of have to walk that line. And
Yeah,
so
just
was
show
the
'em.
visual learners.
It's
Yeah.
educational, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And this is so moving forward to, this is our second framework modified T-shirt. This was a modification we did of the T-shirt. So minus the radio station WKBY 1080 logo work and the Thursdays through Saturdays. That won't be on the shirt, of course, but it's just the dreadhead guy and the framework with the suburban hip hop. That is a shirt that's available now. So we haven't modified the site yet to accept the merch and the merch purchases, but we're on our way. And I know some of us are running amok and waiting for the run amok site to come up as well with some of the other design work. So we're kind of in a mixed mode. I have another, which I didn't bring up here. It's an American flag in black and white that's running vertical down a shirt where it's got
I
one
think you
nation.
shared that last time.
Oh, did I?
You shared
Oh, okay,
that on the
okay.
brand?
Okay, then I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be the first two shirts that we'll do, and I think that's about all I have. And an update. Thank you to all those who did and have been supporting Caden's efforts to raise money for the Kesem Foundation, specifically for the UCLA chapter. to raise money for their summer camp, and this will be an in-camp experience this year, first time in 2
Wow,
years.
first time in 2 years.
Yeah. So Caden, he's a counselor this year, and Caden had come from being a camper and a student for the last 5 or 6 years to now he's aged out of the program and he's able to be a counselor for the very first time in the
Nice,
same
nice.
chapter. The counselors have been traditionally asked to raise at least $500, and it costs $500 allows one child to go to camp. And due to the efforts of so many of you out there, Caden's actually been able to single-handedly cover the cost of two campers to go to attend the
Nice.
camp this year. So he's so excited, and these are just from selling our own homegrown shirts. This particular one I've got on here with the Raising Man, we selling these. We've got the hoodies. Shout out to all those folks and who bought hoodies and cakes and cookies from us, and you know any of the other artwork we're showing during our Spark moment. It's pretty awesome to have done that. And Caden's, his information is back up on our social media because he wants to continue to do this throughout the year. So we're still trying to get more money for the camp. And it was the last part on that was he went to the Make the Magic banquet where they have people come and actually have a big fundraising banquet. It was like the last big push. And one of the things that they were auctioning off was $1,000 donation for two kids to go to camp. And at that moment, he thought he only had $800 raised. But he later found out that he had set up his camp accounts just slightly incorrectly. So he created two by mistake, one of which had $800 in it, and the other had $200 in it.
Oh,
So he
wow.
was able to later have, which with the help of the camp organization, they reconciled it that he had already just raised $1,000. So he's doing wonderful with that, and they needed some volunteers. So if you happen to be a medical professional or a mental health professional specifically, they definitely need nurses and mental health professionals to be their
Counselor.
counselors for on site for their. It's 1 week. It's two separate sessions, and they need counselors for both. And you don't have to commit to attending both, but they definitely need some more counselors. He was able to reach out, and we've partnered. We're able to partner with Scripps Hospital down in San Diego. They one of the companies we were able to do some short work for, and thank to one of our directors out there. She's helping us with another hospital organization as well. So it's two separate hospital organizations he's able to reach out to, and he's got his first applicant person who's actually committed to it, who happens to be an oncology nurse. So
Nice.
the volunteers are coming. So if as you're watching this and you happen to be a professional in the medical field and you looking for an opportunity to help out some kids who need a nurse, who need some help passing out medications that the parents are bringing for them, or any other things a professional would need to do should something bad happen, we really can do that. Reach out to Joe, reach out to us on at Raising Man or at the Framework, and we'll get you in contact with the proper people at the Kesson Foundation.
Wow, a lot has happened. A lot. Congrats to Caden on his $1,000 donation and
Yeah,
all the work.
yeah,
Which it kind of like the evolution of what happened on the first day of the year from a cricket explosion.
yeah.
Now we're doing screen printing
Oh, yeah.
and everything's housed at home. And so he's wearing something that he cricketized, as I want to say, and then he's wearing underneath that sweatshirt something that he used on his own personal ink printer. So we've evolved. Our little sparks have been pretty busy. We've been pretty Caden, congrats from Andy.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah,
just a lot of stuff that it just seems like every month it seems like there's something else that's happening and evolving and God just moving. So again, I encourage those who may are still kind of like, I don't know, to always try, just try, because that one conversation to go watch Pageant of the Lord. And
yeah,
if you haven't seen Pageant of the Lord, it will be this time. It's always around Resurrection Sunday. But It is so worth it, and every year that we could shy of the COVID pandemic, which that stopped for 2 years because I they actually had to give me a refund for 2020 because I was there, but then COVID stopped the world, and nobody went 2020 or 2021, and then they even had to scale back how many performance they can have because
Yeah.
of COVID still. So, but if you're in Southern California and you need something to remind you of who he is in your life, I definitely Pageant of Our Lord. You, Craig?
You know what's funny is when you first, I know you shared that part before about how you picked me up at the airport. I was coming in from, I think it was a screening out of state.
From
And
Restored Me.
yeah, and it was you were having, you probably explained it the best way possible, but I was having a hard time understanding like what the world are you talking about? Live, two-dimensional, paint and art versus with a real people involved as the 3D elements. What is that? That's just whatever, Joe. Just give me a ride from the airport. I don't really care where we go, as long as I can get from the airport from John Wayne back to, I think it was,
It was LAX.
oh, it's right, from LAX to because back to Temecula. It was just crazy in itself. And so, but having seen it now, it's a must see. And I know there's another one too. There's because we talked to someone while we were out there. There's a pageant of our Lord for the Christian aspect of the religious aspect, and then
Yes.
there's the masterpieces of our Lord,
It's
something like that.
yeah, Pageant of the Masters.
Pastor Master, thank
And
you, thank you.
not I forget what city. I want to say Long Beach, but it's the Pageant of the Masters.
Yeah,
And so
because we were talking to that gentleman, one of the people who the host and his wife,
yeah,
who we
he
talked to
was
after the
the
show.
narrator, right?
Yes, yeah, and I know just having, sorry, I didn't mean to get off track, but it just that spark of being able to now having, for me, was it 2 or 3 years having seen it, and then we've never stayed after to talk to any of the actors and actresses before, and I don't think we'd ever watched a last show before and actually been able to get on stage and get that close to the
The
backdrop,
Bible.
yeah,
Did you touch the Bible, Craig?
I
Because I was
did.
like,
I did, but then the gentleman says, "Don't touch it," and it makes sense. I mean, because the oils from our hands is bad for the artwork because they're trying to save them for years to come. But I did touch it, and the pages actually was more like kind of rug material, not burlap, but more of a canvasy drop cloth type of a material.
okay,
But it actually had lettering, looked like it was printed on as if it was done by a large printer, and I don't have any concept of what kind of a large scale printer could do something like that, but just being able to see that and
the
now,
art.
yeah, the art. Oh, and the cool thing about it, I don't know if we shared when we went that we actually were able to wear shirts that we printed for the event. So off the printer, you wanted a "This is
Oh,
my king."
from my production, that's my king.
That's my king. So you got the SM Lockridge front logo that you sent when we did it with the foils. We had some Cricut and some um, GT381 at the same time because we had the gold and silver on the front and black. And then on the back, I just saw this spark of a tomb, the empty tomb with a stone rolled away, and just screened that or printed that on the back. And then mine, I actually made two shirts for that event. And I made one which is faith, but made out of the Facebook logo. And I think we shared that before.
Yeah.
But I decided not to wear that and went with the favor logo with the long, elongated, scripted font to that. So I think it was an awesome idea where we were able to go to a sparked type of event wearing apparel that we felt a spark to wear for the event. So I thought it was really, really awesome. And then while we were there, we were able to, especially at the intermission and then before and after, just talk about the different ideas about what we could do with this or how they did that, or in future years we should try to get more people to come because it's nothing for us to bring one or two new people. This year the people we asked just weren't able to go at the last moment. So some people out there, if you're out there, hey, ask us, ask me, how come you didn't ask me? Well, we had reached out to some people who had committed, and unfortunately at the last moment they weren't able to come. So it's kind of tough to have pulled that together, but it's something worth doing.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to, stir the pot again because they start selling tickets in November.
Yeah,
It's that good where you need to get your ticket early so you
yeah,
can get your space because it's a wonder to behold, and you leave there just feeling like you had a real good sermon that you just felt like the presence of the Lord was really thick there. And I think it was different the time when Craig, we went on the last day.
hmm
um I don't think we've ever gone on the last. I know
mm
I haven't. I don't
no,
remember going on the very last day, but um, we were able to meet the
cat.
narrator guy
Mhm.
that's been doing it for years, and he actually shared a story of how he got started. You know, I think he said he started singing in the choir, and then things just evolved, and from singing in the choir to working backstage to actually being one of the characters
Yeah,
in the production to now,
yeah.
it's I don't know it's I don't know, I just love it. I just love it.
I think for me, the last day of that particular production is the only way I want to see it again because when we watched the first two times, it felt like when it was over, you just had to go because they were prepping for another show because there's usually multiple shows during the day, so they're trying to turn the house and get it clean. And I mean, they're gracious; they don't ever kick you out. But when the curtain closes, it closes. But when we went this time, when the show ended, the curtain didn't close; it stayed open, and you were able to see behind the veil, so to speak. And then I just thought it was such an awesome thing. The one artwork we saw was a couple people at the bottom of it, and had a larger person at the top to really then see what was art still and then what was art living. It was like it was the perspective, and then just to be able to watch how an artisan who does in the 2D paint is able to do a 3D sculpture and attach it just so on the wall so that when a human enters in as a live artisan, you're not ever drawn and think that of who was who. It looked more without the human, it looked more kiddish and kind of weird without the human in there. Versus when the human person was in the art, everything looked exactly as it should. It was bananas. It just so I don't know how they did that. I was more amazed at that, I think.
Nice. Yeah, it was nice. So if you're looking for an art spark or something to really kind of just grasp it, and I think that's where I get like, inspired to do other things because I'll see that, and as you can see, I saw it, and then I applied toward my doctorate degree. So
Mhm.
it does do something to you, but you just have to be open to getting out the boat and just
Yeah,
trying things. And I know, Andy, she says that's all we can do is try,
that's it.
take the leap of faith and trusting God. And that's actually the truth. Everyone is always like, oh, it's Joanne and she's this, she's that. But Joanne is constantly getting out yet another boat. And I'm like, okay, well, he was there with me last time. So I'm gonna try this, or God, you need to make sure I think however you want me to do this. But there's like that willing participation where faith does kick in. And
Oh,
with
yeah.
that faith, what he said, the size of the mustard seed, just that much
Yeah.
to just try. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be picture perfect, but God will know your heart that you trusted him enough to just try. So I constantly get people trying to, compare what I do to what they do. And I'm like, don't do that. My story is unique. I didn't think I was an artist till I was in like my late 30s, early 40s. I did not even think I was an artist. So I know I'm one now, but that has not always been it. And the scripts I've written and things that people are like, ooh, 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 I need everyone to say, ooh, God, because it was Joanne that wanted to just step out the boat and use that little mustard seed to see what would happen. And things just kept growing and getting bigger and other things. And so I just encourage everyone, it is so worth regardless of the size of the mustard seed or whatever you got in your hand. Maybe you big balling with an avocado seed. Doesn't matter. Just do. Just try. I really want to encourage. You never know who's waiting on the other side of your obedience. Sound familiar, Craig? I
Yeah,
need
but
to
this
make
all.
my own T-shirt at
Well,
this point.
that's yeah, that's on their list of shirts to make. So, and I
You
think as
never
you were
know.
saying that, I was really seeing the fact. Well, first I was hearing the Tupac lyric, picture perfect and paint a perfect picture. But at the same time, for some people, they're thinking that these are big things that we're doing, what we're sharing here, and for some of us, they are big things, right? But a big thing to some of us is just getting up in the morning. That's getting out of the boat, or calling someone that we need to call. That's a big thing to get out of the boat with,
Good point. Good.
or hugging your child, or if or a person that you're in direct conflict with, or had an argument with. Um, I've got a couple of those coming up with Ryan's graduation, where there's some people that are coming to town that'll be involved in Ryan's graduation festivities that I really could care if they fell off whether you believe the earth is flat or round, they could fall off it. I really wouldn't care. But I have to make sure that I'm not feeling some kind of way and not being a gracious host and showing the face of God, whether they're in my presence or not. But I don't have to dislike them. I have to love them and show them the love of God, the agape love, but I don't have to be in any form of brotherly community love with them, because that's not what the Lord asked me to do. It's this the agape love, and show that face to them and not be fraudulent about it. I have no problem doing that, but it's going to be a challenge in the process. So Lord, as a spark for those who were able to pray for that. I'll take that prayer for the weekend of the 3rd of June. That'll be an interesting part, but
Oh, it's the 3rd of June. It's coming
it's
quick.
coming quick.
That's a couple more weeks, Craig.
Yeah, and I have three high school graduates and one college graduate, and three that will have attended college in some form or fashion. So I'm excited. I'm excited. Another thing I was going to even talk about, even getting out of the boat, and we've actually probably never really done a bunch of PSAs for other people's events, but those who get out of the boat, Kirk Franklin is coming to San Diego in another month. I think it's July, I believe. I know we've got tickets all ready to go, and so it's
Are we wearing T-shirts?
well, of course, yeah. It's a Kirk and Maverick City, and maybe we make a combination of both or something, and we can work on that design. It's get it done. I'm sure, speaking in advance, I will have the machine running at full capacity by then, so we'll be able to print. No limitations on what we'll be able to print and prep and get ready, and with or without vinyl on it. And there's another one I wanted to make mention of, but it's just said this was as the ability for you to go back out into the outside safely as you're comfortable with. There's a lot of things to do, but the key is to do it in the manner that you feel safe and comfortable with, and to operate in your faith and wisdom, because the Lord just allows you to do a lot of things, but some things He doesn't want you to necessarily play on the freeway during open traffic. You can probably play during rush hour when the cars ain't moving around, but if they're at full capacity running 85, 90 miles an hour, that's stupid to run out there and play. And that's where some of us have done during not just the pandemic time, but in other areas of life as well. So just be careful out there and have a good time.
Thanks for sharing that, Craig.
Sure.
I forgot about Kirk Franklin. When's that?
I'll have to go back and look at the tickets. I'm almost positive it's July something in San Diego.
Okay.
I got the tickets so far in advance. Look, you always mentioned the pageant to get them in November,
Right, right.
and then I was blessed to be actually able to get these tickets for the Kirk Franklin's concert on the day the tickets were first available this year. So I was able to get good seats, and I should say they were good for what you'd be surprised. 15 minutes after opening, there was a bunch of tickets already taken. So I got as close as I could get for the price I was available to pay.
I'm grateful just to say I'm a go.
Yeah.
So I have my mask on, but I'll be going.
Hey, we might have masks on our face and masks on our hands too, the LinkedIn gloves on our hands too, but
Hey,
still.
hey, I'm down. I'm
Yeah.
down. I'm
But
down with
we'll be there, speaking that into existence. So,
yeah,
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, um, Craig, You got anything else?
No, I don't believe I do. I don't believe. Well, I'm always working on something, but other than
Are you writing something? Because I know a lot of people don't know
oh,
Greg does write script,
so I
and he
do.
is musically inclined when he wants to be. And wait, oh no, you're not getting off from this. What's the update on the framework? You got what kind of?
Oh, so that's yeah. So there, yeah, I appreciate it. So we were just picked up by another station. We were picked up by Connecticut's #1 Christian online station, WJRG. We will be on their network, their station,
And where
beginning
is that located?
Connecticut. It'll be on the first week of June, and they have picked up both the Raising Man show and the framework. So that's a blessing. We have our first official syndication for the Raising Men show, because we were counting our own network as being syndication, but these were actually two partners that have picked us up. So it's awesome. And the Raising Men show will go back to 1 hour on WJRG on Tuesdays. I have to double check, but I think it's going to be Mondays on them. But we're starting the social media push over the weekend, kind of prepping. So next week you'll start to see that coming out from us in our social media. And the framework is going from an hour to 2 hours on WJRJ on Saturday nights. So, and we are actually we've been
Coast to
allowed
coast
to.
Saturday nights, right?
Yeah. And it's such a blessing because we're on 6 nights a week somewhere, and that's a blessing on a station, not our server. So we can be technically 7 days a week if we include our own server network. But when you're talking about being able to be on someone else's platform, whether you broadcast and streaming or just streaming itself alone from that station partner, we're on 6 days a week on someone else's platform. And this
Nice.
particular network or station was gracious enough to ask us, what did you want? Did you want an hour for your show, or did you want 2 hours? Because
They asked you what you
they,
wanted?
yeah, they asked us what we wanted, and they were
That's
already doing
God.
it.
I've
Yeah,
never heard of that ever.
yeah, and they're the
We got
first.
2 minutes. Can you fill that 2 minute gap? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Not
no doubt.
what you want.
Yeah, and the blessing too was he had already been playing Christian hip hop, but he was going to pull his own hour of Christian hip hop off. He was going to play either before ours or after ours, depending on what time slot we wanted. He had a slot in mind,
Hmm.
but he was like, "Well, if you want both hours, I'll pull mine and just play yours." So I was like, "Well, you're not always offered more. You're usually offered less."
Yes.
And so we took the more, and we're grateful for that. So we'll be doing a lot of the new music segments for this particular station, just like we do with San Diego Gospel Radio.com on our Monday night New Music Monday show. So that's already a 2 hour show. So we'll be doing the same for WJRG. And then for the Raising Men show, we started out at 20 minutes, 28 minutes in 2015, and we moved it to 58 minutes a year or two later. But and then we left the air for a year, so I was just couldn't quite get all of the stuff put together. And then we were asked to come back, and I came back at 28 minutes, but it still feels like it's just not enough. But WJRG asked us, do you want an hour or do you want 28 minutes? And so we took the hour. So it's a blessing to be able to come into a station where they don't have much talk radio on that station currently, and we're able to come in at an hour at a time that's a really good time in their morning on the East Coast, as well as it puts us at an early drive time on the West Coast for that show on a Monday. So we'll actually be on consecutive days for the Raising Men show. We'll be on Tuesdays at WKBY 1080 AM in Chatham, Virginia, as well as on their streaming network, as well as on WJRG on Monday mornings at 10. And these are, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. Pacific. But it'll be all up on our social media. And then it's pretty awesome when you really think about it. And
Aren't you on the radio station up here in Temecula?
yes, we're on the Vine 102.5 FM. We've been blessed to be on their station going on. We're definitely hit the 1 year mark with them just very recently. and
Well,
that's a blessing. And it's
longer than that. Weren't you doing the Vine when
oh,
you
well, you're
started
right. You're right.
doing
No, you're right. You're right. Because it gets confusing because we didn't come onto the Vine until about 6 months into our broadcasting. They were actually so the behind the scenes story is we were actually asked by the former uh,
general manager?
general manager, thank you, Doc Moranville, to create a show for Christian hip hop the year before we even came on the air.
Wow.
But it was a situation where I said I would, but I just didn't deliver. And we were getting ready to move. I was separating from the church there, moving down towards Carlsbad. We were looking for a home, trying to find out what we were doing. And I just couldn't wrap my mind around taking on that kind of undertaking. And in 2019, the amount of Christian hip hop just wasn't there. We had the majors, right?
Right.
You had the 116 and you had, God Over Money and I'm sure you had others, right? But the ones that were prominent were the 116 God Over Money. And then you had a couple other people out there that were beginning to make some noise. But with the advent of the pandemic, and a lot of folks were just able to really just stay in and focus on hearing from God and the method of their message from God in the Christian hip hop arena, it became such an abundance of music being birthed in 2020 and so on and further. So now it's so much music out there, so many new music release radars that are running hour and 28 minutes, hour and 30 minutes worth of new Christian hip hop music. And we're right in a good pocket, right in the great thick of things. Christian concerts coming, indoor, outdoor, streamed, not streamed. And it's a great opportunity. We've been meeting a lot of great people. So having come back a year later and was able to send our information over to Doc at the time, and he was like, "Oh, how soon can I have this and get this on the air?" And we were prepped to go, days later. But as we kind of got that station prepped to come, I was at 3 to 6 months later, we were on their station and going. So I get the dates kind of twisted, but it's an awesome thing. We're waiting for another station, so we'll save that for maybe another announcement. We're waiting another station to pick up. And we're going to be doing some modifications to our site. So Andy, stay with us. We haven't done an update on that site in a minute, but we're in the process of doing a complete overhaul to the framework.com. And
Oh,
we've been
wow.
getting a lot of praise and a lot of, appreciation and a lot of kudos to that site. But we're taking Remnant Media, which is our own network, is actually going to be one of the new launch pads for the framework and the rest of what we do, because we want people coming there. We have a whole new look template that we want there. We believe that the Lord's got a way to produce that same high quality content, but in a way where it gives us the network look at the content delivery network that we're doing, and drive people to that content delivery network system instead of just sending them to the framework or to the Raising Men show or to Raising Man. It'll all be a one-stop place where you can see a lot of content there. And for people like yourself, Joe, with all of the sites that you have, you and I have talked about, you and your content coming over to join, rate the Remnant family whenever you're ready, and as that site becomes mature. And so we're almost in that place. And and Andy, I know you're out there listening with us. Hope you're still riding with us. This is another place also where artists like yourself would have a place to come. And Joe, even spoken word artists, this may be a place. There's a great niche place where there's a spoken word channel that we have, just like we've talked about, but on the Remnant Media Network. And for those well, don't look for us just yet, but we do have, it's rmnt.media. That is our handle, and that'll be coming up shortly. And it's exciting to get that prep done, but it's a lot of work. So if you happen to do web pages and stuff, and you do other media and social media, and you do it, and you would love to do and get behind something that needs help on a volunteer basis right now, because we can't do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I
I
don't
think
have,
that's what we're learning, Craig.
yeah, yeah, that's the tough
But
part.
it's fun project, but
Yeah,
it's like something you need to be able to focus on for an extended period of time.
yeah.
And I got too many handles right now.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But if you're out there, if you're an artist that's out there been listening, and if this has sparked something in you where you want to be able to help other people in the launching as we're preparing to launch yours as well, these are great opportunities to get involved, especially if you happen to even be in some of a college program that you need credits for and support for, we can definitely provide you the letters of recommendation and the letters of credit from your institutions. Or if the Lord leads it on your heart to say, hey, I want to sow seeds into your ministries here, or come and be a part of these type of ventures, please jump in, because these are not just labors of love. These are ideas and things the Lord's given us to do. So if you want to be able to watch, Wholesome WordZ, not on this on StreamYard, but on Wholesome WordZ site, streaming from its own platform, off of its own app, or coming to you from a channel on Raising Men Network. These are the times we get together and roll together and build together, because everybody wants to shout on the Jeremiah 29:11 about, I know that the plans I have for you, says the Lord. And people want to get slain under the Spirit and lay out and get the drop cloth put over them just by the reading of 29:11. But they really forget so much. The first 10 verses from 2 to 10 basically talks about, as I'm sending you into captivity, where you're going to go into the city that of your captors, where they're going to treat you poorly. You still need to grow and go and build and have children and learn and go. Don't sit there and do nothing and get out the boat, basically. So because I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. So some of us are in captivity right now at this very moment. And that doesn't mean that we don't build, that we're not excited about what we're doing. We're not getting out of the boat. We're not going to school to get our high school diploma or undergraduate degree or a master's program or a PhD and even other degrees, or learning to dance or paint or do poems or whatever. These are times that we need to build and move together and take that spark, what Joe's always saying, because, there is someone waiting on the other side of our obedience, as Joe always says, and someone's waiting on you all as well. They're not just waiting on us. So there's someone waiting on you as well.
Good word, Craig. That was a really good word. And hopefully, those that are listening right now, this kind of like our mantra right now of just your obedience, it's what you always hear, obedience is better than sacrifice.
That's
So if
right.
you're willing to make the sacrifice, well, that's nice, but were you obedient?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times the spark is a determination of your obedience. Do you trust God enough? Are you obedient enough to just give it a try regardless? And no, it doesn't have to be an Emmy Award thing. It might be something that's really small and minute, but are you willing to be obedient and really look at, I'm willing to be obedient even if I look crazy. And I guess I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna look crazy anyway, so I'm gonna just do it. I guess I've had years of practice of that. And I think that might separate everybody when they're just like, I remember when I accepted my call in the ministry, which was difficult. And I remember when I did my first sermon and where I did it and all that kind of stuff. And I resigned to the fact that no one, if they don't understand what my calling is, it's okay. And I don't even have to explain it to them. And if they don't get it, that's even better. And sure enough, as soon as I finished my sermon, one of the ladies comes up to me, now, what are you a minister of? And I said, of the creative arts. And she says, now, what does that have to do with the gospel of Jesus Christ? I'm like, I know it's different. And I just left it at that. And it's okay. I'm not living up to her expectation. She didn't call me, he did. So there's I made that delineation, and it's probably been one of the better things that I have, is that I'm not living up to man's expectations. I'm living up to what God's called me to be, and I'm obedient in the things that he gives me. And so he gives me all kinds of crazy things. But it's like, you say you want this? Okay, here you go, God. And whether people understand it or not, I still do it. Andy says, take a step at a time. Don't worry about what other people think. Only focus on what God thinks about you. Exactly, Andy. Yep. And that's been my mantra. And, people are like, oh, it's Joanne Hoy. And I'm like, no, it's just Joanne. And I'm obedient. Well, what about you? I'm willing to get the spark regardless of what it is. And if nothing else, drop that email that I'm gonna get a return a return thing, 5 minutes later. That was not anything I expected. I expected, 2 to 3 days to go by. I was not
Sure.
expecting no 5 minutes later. That I'm like, wait, what? Who? We done? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hey, I have one more update because you mentioned the writing portion. I didn't get to that. I apologize.
yes, writing, Craig.
Yeah, yeah. So I've actually finished my second script. My first short was done, I think, about 2 years ago. With Shelty, those who know her as a Christian comedian and writer and actress, she and I finished which is my first feature screenplay, and the film is currently called Everyday Christmas, and we're excited to have been able to finish it, and we're in the process of our complete reread. I mean, we've read it through, but now that it's finished, we're in the reread process just to make sure everything is succinct and making sense and doesn't have any craziness to it. But it's exciting to be able to do that. And Shelty is definitely looking at doing the direction of it herself and actually getting the funding for it. So ideally, over the next several months, we'll have that prepared and start that process, whatever that's needs to look like to
Start that spark, huh?
exactly. So it's a blessing.
Yeah, God is definitely moving if you're paying attention. Auntie says, congrats, Craig. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of good things are happening, one spark at a time. Just paying attention to it. Anything else, Craig, that you might have forgot? Something up your sleeve?
The number sleeve, presto. Bull Rocky and Bullwinkle days.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, not that I know of. I mean, no, that's all I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, so I guess this was kind of like we said, it was a spring update. Um, I don't know what next month is gonna bring for me because like I said, I was not expecting anyone from San Diego State to call me to be a guest lecturer. So that was like out of the clear blue sky. And so I am soliciting everyone to please, please, please wish Sugar on top. Please pray for the girl here, that all the brain cells fire in the right direction so we can do this paperwork and I can do these presentations. My first presentation is 2 to 3 hours. So I need much prayer. Much.
No doubt. We got you. We got you. We got you. Andy out there. Yeah, I think we lost Andy out
This
there.
is the question I have for you. Did you see it? Is that why you're laughing?
I know, huh? Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we lost Andy out there. She must have fallen off the computer if she typed this one.
Mm-mm.
So Andy, I have not played the piano yet. We are still in the process of redoing my new workshop space. So it is currently still under the blanket, still in a safe place. And so Joe, with this reminder, can you connect me with the guest from last week? She said she has a piano tuner person.
Dolores Fisher.
Yes,
He
please.
sent you an email. Did you check it out?
I have not, because
Okay.
I have 15 emails, so I made sure I check which one of the 15 she sent it to. So let me find out. I'll look at that, and then we have the pool table leaves next Saturday, so the garage is starting to spin. So my goal is to get the garage set and this printer going. So by the 3rd of June, the new workshop space should be ready.
And the workshop space is going to be space for the piano.
No, well, the piano's in the workshop space at the moment. Part of me wants to put it in the office with me here, and the other part wants to put it in the house, over to the left of the sliding glass door. So it doesn't belong there.
Okay,
I know,
so
but
the cricket's not there anymore.
oh no, the cricket's over in the workshop space.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it has to be. The cricket's got to be in a place where it can be worked on. Because I can't put it on the shelf because we still have the active designs that need.
Sorry, I didn't know that we had transformation of cricket moved.
Oh yeah,
And the other smaller press.
Oh, okay. So that smaller press. Okay, so that mean that we didn't share that either. You mentioned just now. We were blessed to get a what is it, a 16 by 20 heat press that's bigger than, of course, the 10 by 15 that we had. But the 15 by 20 has multiple attachments. So as a part of the workshop space coming together, we're going to take off the 10 by 20 press head and put on the hat brim print iron, as well as the mug attachment. So it'll have its place always open instead of sitting back in a box.
Didn't the smaller one have the same different attachments though?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, taking its print head off. So the smaller one won't have the 10 by 15 press on it anymore. I'll remove that, and I'll only use that for the mugs or the drinkware, so to speak, right? And the hats. So that
okay.
And that
So
always
then you'll have one for the shirts and then one for accessories.
Correct. And it gives us a chance to put that on a table where the press, the Cricket's, the light pad that you gave me with the overhead light clip, and the cutting board all has to sit together because vinyl needs to be cut and weeded. So that needs to have a station into itself.
Oh.
So it'll have a space to itself. So we're working on it.
You might have to take pictures of before and after.
Oh yeah, I got lots of before pics. Well, plus the pool table's in the way, so it'll leave next Saturday. So I'll have a before and after with the pool table being gone. And once that gets out of the way, it'll open up a lot of space. I'll actually be able to get the John Wick back in the garage for the short term until we get really busy, and then it'll have to go back in the garage, back on the driveway. So.
All right. Well, I think that we have shared a lot of great information. Update has been rich. And we look forward to, I think what Andy was trying to say is she wanted to hear some of your music.
Oh, no.
From the piano.
Well, I'll tell you
I'm just saying, I have one thing that I use for my podcast, or that you let me use for the podcast.
Sure.
Yes, I have a podcast, but I haven't done my podcast in a long, long time. But anyway,
yeah, but you'll be getting ready to get on the
and the closing of my podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that and bring that back when you get on the Remnant Media Network.
Oh, my podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, because I'm on iTunes and where else am I on, Craig?
It should be on Podbean, yeah. It's probably on
iTunes, a little bit of Spotify. I think I'm on Spotify. Yeah, but maybe I'll get back into doing podcasts, especially since I'm working on this D-Men project. So maybe that'll be, I don't know. I don't know what God has. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just out the boat and I'm walking. I do know I'm walking forward. I do know that. That's it. Other than that, the sky is beautiful. There could be some waves and I'm like, whatever, so there could be a whale. I could say I wave. That's where I am right now. Whatever. I'm walking on the water. That's it.
But do your thing. Do your thing.
All right, everyone. I appreciate your time today. We'll be back next month. Put it on your calendars. Third Friday of the month. Wait, what day is that, Craig? Third Friday of the month.
Third Friday of the month.
Let's see. Let me open up this
little calendar month. Here. Maybe. That'll be the 17th.
The 17th. Okay, so Friday the 17th will be my second anniversary. It's my anniversary. On that, yeah.
We have to work with that. I will be joining you, but from out of town again.
Okay. Where are you going this time, Craig?
I'll actually be in the Ontario area. I'll be actually going to be at a conference for the contract job. I was actually invited to represent them at a 3-day conference.
Oh, nice.
So it should be interesting.
Now, what's happening on the 3rd of June, Craig?
It's Ryan's graduation day from high school.
What times?
The ceremony, I believe, is at 3. We're going to do lunch. We're going to do lunch now.
Oh.
Lunch
and then go to the graduation?
Yeah, because we want to support another graduates event as well. And I couldn't figure out how to do, because Ryan wants me to cook a home dinner instead of have it catered. So I didn't know how to have a dinner prepped and ready, go to a 2-hour graduation ceremony, come back, have dinner ready to eat, or take the next hour to make it, and dinner wouldn't be ready till like 6, and I would be exhausted. So we couldn't quite figure out the logistics. So we've decided, or to do a lunch-esque type of serving where
Before graduation.
before graduation. So when you eat and then he'll leave early, then we'll leave to go over there by 3. And then when it's over, people can, those that come can choose to go on their way or, sit with him
Right.
and have dessert afterwards. And then he'll go to
I
grad
just
night
have to
because,
take the day off. I'm trying to figure out all this stuff.
yeah, it's a amazing
Yeah.
thing right now.
It looks pretty busy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we always need some hands. So one of the things I'm going to do over the weekends between calling you, Sharon Cunningham, and Tamara, say, how can I balance this dinner meal without, either drying the food out or burning my brain out? Because he wants those biscuits like we do, like they have in the box from Red Lobster and stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, that's
I
yeah.
don't even know if Costco sells that though.
Oh, Vaughn sells them. There's Vaughn's and Walmart. It's easy to find those.
All right.
Like I've probably got 4 boxes in the cabinet right now.
Okay. That sounds like a plan then.
Yeah, it's just the logistics is what we're working on yeah, right now. So we're trying to get his grad
And
pictures
so
taken.
brunches over at your house?
Yeah. If we do, the goal would be to do it there, and that's easier to do at the house.
Then you try to find someplace.
Yeah, and it's easier to do at the house before the grad.
Okay.
Than trying to figure out how to do it after. I know when Sharon catered last year for Kate, she made the food, she brought it, but she drove the hour and her food, was kept hot in the containers she's got, right? But she knows what she's doing. She's a professional. I'm a dad. I don't know how to, do that. When I cook my food, I leave it out or wrap it up. It's cold when I get home an hour later, But when she did it, that food was still, hot and ready to eat without being dried out and jacked up. So, that was one of the reasons why to call and seek some higher counsel, right? How to
There
spark, say,
you
hey,
go. You'll be fine. You'll
yeah.
be
So, well, it'll work out.
at work.
Yeah.
All right. All right, everybody. We have had a great time. Andy, yes, it's been a blessed night. And we have been blessed. And hopefully you have too. And we June 17th, the 3rd Friday of the month, it will be my 2nd anniversary. So I'm excited about that. So I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll have some people from the past. Maybe Ronnie Robles will come and grace us with maybe some art. Maybe I can get him to paint again or something.
I'll reach out to him soon because you don't know where Ro, where you at, Ro?
Yeah, where you at, Ro? So giving him a shout out as well. All right. Well, everybody, we thank you for everything and your support, your prayers, and it's been a blessing. Me and Craig will be back next month with probably some more updates. It'll probably be another spring art update part 2. But I think I'm gonna say it's my anniversary, so we'll go with that kind of theme and maybe have some bells and whistles, and maybe we can raffle off a T-shirt, Craig. Because
Why don't we do? Well, let's just make it happen. Because by that time next month, we will have aired our 200th episode of the framework too.
Okay.
So maybe we can
we can have Raising Men. Maybe we can do a raffle. I know that there's this mechanism that StreamYard has where you can actually, raffle off some things. So maybe we could, do some stuff. Maybe I'll work on obedience. There's always someone waiting on the other side of your obedience. So maybe I'll premiere that. I don't know.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
All right, everybody. It's been grand. It's been real. It's been really grand. And we will see you next month on the 17th. And so I look forward to seeing everyone. So good night.
Good.